A seemingly normal day on the Johnson family farm took a dramatic turn when a massive sinkhole suddenly appeared in their backfield. The family, shocked and concerned about the potential dangers, immediately notified the authorities. When the police arrived to assess the situation, they peered into the depths of the sinkhole, expecting to find nothing more than earth and rock. However, what they discovered at the bottom made their faces turn pale, a sight far beyond the ordinary hazards of a natural sinkhole. But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any news stories. There they are. I'll open the door, Erica said to her husband when she saw the officers approaching their house. She and her husband, Mark, had been waiting inside while the police investigated the sinkhole that had so mysteriously appeared on their land, and they were curious to hear what they had found down there. She opened the door and bombarded the officer with questions. "Sir, did you find anything down there? Do you know what caused it? Is it safe for us to stay here?" But his reaction was not what she expected. He crossed his arms and looked at her, and he slowly shook his head. Erica was confused and wanted to ask another question. But then, everything changed. "Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, you have to come with us," the officer said harshly. Erica's first response was to laugh, but she quickly realized that the officer was being serious. "Excuse me," she finally asked, and the officer repeated himself. "You need to come to the police station right now. Both of you." She just stared at him with eyes wide in disbelief, but the officer had no time to lose. He grabbed Erica by the arm and dragged her to the police car, and another officer grabbed Mark. It all happened so fast, and the couple had no choice but to do as they were told. "Officer, please listen, we didn't do anything." They tried to explain a few more times, but nobody paid any attention to them anymore. The first officer finally told them, "Shut up, you can save all that for the interrogation." And he mumbled something else under his breath that neither of them could understand. Upon hearing this, Erica turned pale. She understood that this was something serious, and she was getting ready to panic now. What the hell was going on? Erica and Mark silently sat in the back of the car as they drove away from the property. When he saw that her eyes filled with tears, he took her hand and whispered, "They'll be all right. Don't worry." He knew she was worried about leaving their kids alone right now, but as harsh as it sounded, they had more important things to worry about. They did not speak a single word during the rest of the drive, and when they finally arrived at the station, that same unsympathetic officer led them into one of the interrogation rooms. "Sit down and wait here. Someone will be with you soon," he growled, and the door fell closed behind him with a loud bang. Mark and Erica looked around. Neither of them had ever been in a police station before, let alone an interrogation room, and she let out a deep sigh. "Well, at least we're together," she said with a weak smile. But that smile soon disappeared from her face. "What do you think the kids are doing? Will they be okay? What if the hole becomes even bigger?" However, this time, Mark did not even get the chance to calm her down. The door swung open and another officer appeared, introducing himself as Officer Daniels. "Mrs. Johnson, please follow me," he said, and Erica's eyes widened. "What? Me? Why?" But the officer was adamant, and he simply repeated himself once again. Erica knew that she had no choice. Hours later, Erica and Mark were reunited again. They had both undergone an intense interrogation about the sinkhole, and, to their surprise, the police seemed to be suspecting them of causing it. They had answered all the questions truthfully, and the police decided to send them home, but they would still keep an eye on them until they found who was really responsible. Both Erica and Mark had asked the officer interrogating them, "What is it that you found at the bottom of the sinkhole?" But neither of them had received a proper answer. It was obvious that the police had found something huge down there, but they were not willing to share what it was, and they sent the Johnsons home with clear instructions. The couple desperately wanted to prove their innocence. They had already been treated as criminals, and they hated it. So they decided to follow the instructions. They were not allowed to receive any visitors until the sinkhole issue was resolved, and they could not speak to anyone about what had happened. But they were still very curious about what was going on down there. In the following days, the Johnsons barely left the house. Their property was swarming with police and an investigation team, and people were running around constantly. Mark observed them, and he couldn't help but wonder what they had found. Why didn't any of the officers want to tell them what it was? It was their property, after all. Didn't they deserve to know? "I'm going down there," Mark told his wife one night, feeling determined to find out the truth. "How can we prove that we are innocent if we don't even know what they're suspecting us of?" he added, convinced that his wife would agree with him. However, her reaction was a bit different from what he had expected. "Excuse me, you what?" "You're not going down there, Mark." "Are you crazy?" she exclaimed as soon as he told her what he was planning to do. It immediately became clear that Mark was going to have to put his plan on hold. He knew that Erica would never forgive him if he went through with it. So they agreed to just wait it out for a few more days. Erica and Mark's morning was overshadowed by the constant police presence around their home, disrupting their sense of normalcy. Mark pretended to read the newspaper, his mind elsewhere, while Erica quietly sipped her coffee, her thoughts consumed by the situation. The house, once their peaceful haven, now felt like a stage under constant surveillance, their familiar routine replaced with a strained, uncomfortable new reality. In the small town, the sinkhole on the Johnsons' property was the main topic of discussion. "It's bottomless," one neighbor whispered eagerly at the grocery store. "Perhaps an old mine." Another suggested thoughtfully at the post office. The most bizarre theories, like covert government experiments, were animatedly discussed at the diner. Erica, overhearing these wild speculations, felt a mix of disbelief and a nagging worry about the unknown. At home, the tension was palpable, hanging like a cloud over the Johnsons. Mark, attempting to lift spirits, suggested a family movie night, but it felt hollow and forced. The next morning shattered their calm. News vans and reporters invaded their property, turning their quiet home into a media circus. Despite the media's persistence, the Johnsons refused interviews, obeying police instructions. Then came a call, Mark's old college friend, now a geologist. He suggested the sinkhole could be man-made. The theory sounded unlikely, but in their desperation for answers, it gained weight. That evening, they gathered around the table, discussing the idea with their children. Even the kids were drawn into the mystery. Mark admitted it seemed improbable, but anything felt possible now. The next day, he researched similar cases. Some articles supported the idea, others refuted it, leaving him uncertain. Erica silently watched, flooded with questions of her own. The geologist called again. He had no proof, only a hunch. This crushed what little hope the Johnsons had for clarity, leaving them adrift in speculation. At dawn, Erica and Mark looked out the window. A crowd had gathered: media, curious locals, and strangers. Their property, once a peaceful refuge, now buzzed with cameras and commentary. By afternoon, police set up barricades, trying to manage the swelling crowd. From the window, the couple watched silently, the new reality of their disrupted life setting in. Inside their home, Erica and Mark felt powerless. Outsiders roamed the property, speculating and filming. The chaos outside served as a relentless reminder of how surreal and out of control things had become. Later, while observing the crowd, Mark overheard two strangers near the sinkhole whispering, "It's not just a natural occurrence." Though the rest of their conversation was drowned out by noise, that one line ignited his suspicions. The couple, now even more uneasy, discussed the possibility that the sinkhole was not natural. The more they speculated, the more confused and frustrated they became. Nothing added up. At dawn, heavy machinery arrived. The police had brought excavation equipment to examine the sinkhole further. The investigation soon revealed structural anomalies suggesting human interference. Mark overheard police conversations hinting at deliberate tampering, sending chills through him. Erica's anxiety grew. How had their land become the epicenter of such a strange event? By noon, the local paper ran a front-page story with insinuations that the Johnsons were involved in something illegal. The article, filled with speculation, stung deeply. Erica felt betrayed, and Mark knew the damage to their reputation was worsening. That evening, the couple sat together in silence. Exhaustion weighed heavily on them. The endless scrutiny from the media and their own community had taken its toll. They held on to each other tightly, finding comfort only in their shared struggle. The calm was shattered when they were jolted awake by someone trying to break in. Mark rushed toward the sound with a bat while Erica called 911. A shadow outside the window retreated the moment Mark shouted. Police arrived soon after, but dismissed it as nothing serious. Sleep was impossible. They took shifts watching the windows, unsure if the intruder would return. The next night confirmed their worst fears. The figure came back, but this time, they were ready. As the figure attempted to force entry, Mark confronted him while Erica called the police. With steady determination, Mark held the man until officers arrived. Erica stood nearby, shaken but alert. When the police took the intruder into custody, relief washed over them, but it didn't ease their unease. The couple wondered what the man's true motive had been. After the police left, the Johnsons sat silently, anxiety still thick in the air. They speculated whether the break-in was connected to the sinkhole. The next morning, police returned with an important update. Mark and Erica were cleared of any suspicion regarding the sinkhole. The news lifted a massive weight. Finally, the cloud of doubt had cleared. Soon after, authorities revealed the true cause: illegal mining tunnels beneath the property. The underground excavation had destabilized the land, triggering the sinkhole. The revelation was shocking. The intruder was tied to a group of illegal miners searching for valuable minerals. The Johnsons were stunned by the scope of the operation, which had taken place beneath their feet. It all made sense now. The strange figures, the whispers, the trespassing. A hidden world had existed under their home, and they had unknowingly lived above it. That evening, Mark and Erica shared a quiet moment of relief. The mystery had been solved, and their innocence confirmed. In the following days, their neighbors' attitudes shifted. Those who once looked at them with doubt now offered kindness. Apologies, meals, and notes of support arrived, helping heal the emotional wounds. The media too changed its narrative. No longer targeting the Johnsons, the focus moved to the illegal mining ring. News vans disappeared, finally returning peace to their doorstep. The local police chief visited in person to apologize for the distress caused. Alone again, Mark and Erica reflected on the journey. The ordeal had tested them, but also brought them closer. Their bond had been strengthened by every sleepless night and fearful moment. They felt more unified than ever. The Johnsons resolved to transform their experience into something meaningful. They began advocating for better land use oversight and stronger community awareness. Their painful story had inspired a new purpose, ensuring no other family would endure the same.